Top 10 Endangered Species. For a good reason, they are referred to as charismatic megafauna. These threatened species exude star power, which conservationists have taken use of to raise money for projects to conserve them, and, often by default, the other organisms that share their complex ecosystems. People are much more inclined to give money to save an adorable panda or a majestic tiger than they are to spend money on protecting the Gerlach's cockroach or the limbless worm skink. However, skinks and roaches are equally important members of their ecosystems and deserving of support as their more conspicuous counterparts. The animals on this list could potentially be thought of as A-listers whose box office earnings support the survival of the lesser-known character actors who occupy the same world. Welcome to the Animal Channel, the one channel for all the interesting animal facts around the globe. Ready to dive and let's go. Natural areas are getting smaller and there are fewer animals as our contemporary society uses more resources. According to our 2022 Living Planet report, since 1970, the average number of animals worldwide has decreased by 69%. Even while there have been incredible and inspiring wildlife success stories in the past, many species are currently in danger, primarily as a result of unsustainable human-led activities. More than 41,000 species have been determined to be in danger of extinction and are listed on the International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN) Red List at this time. The 10 most endangered wild animals in the world are listed below. Number 10. Giant panda, Ailuropoda melanoluca. Everyone adores pandas, even though they may be the most kitsch animal that humans have ever endangered. We simply cannot get enough of the bicolored beasts, whether they are real animals or CGI monsters with martial arts training. Despite their off factor, sometimes bordering on cloying, it has had an impact. Less than 2,500 individuals make up the last known wild population, which is found in China. Since the late 1980s, increasingly strict habitat restrictions have been put in place, and poaching has all but stopped. However, their situation is still precarious. Since their habitat is fragmented, they continue to be vulnerable to disease, occasional predation, and famine when significant areas of the bamboo they depend on reach the end of its life cycle and perish. Number 9. Tiger, Panthera tigris. The 6 tiger subspecies hunting areas, William Blake's Forests of the Night, are blazing brightly. These felines require vast ranges capable of supporting the enormous herbivores that make up the majority of their food, which require extensive ranges capable of supporting slash-and-burn agriculture, logging, and human encroachment. The biggest threat to tigers is believed to be poaching, which is done for trophies and body parts that are used in Asian medicine. There are probably fewer than 4,000 in the wild today. The consumption of endangered species, such as tigers, whose bones, penises, and other parts are superstitiously thought to have miraculous healing properties, was formally banned in China in 2014. Number 8. Whooping crane, Grus americana. Only 29 whooping cranes existed in the wild in 1938, the first year a population study was done. After 3 years, only 16 people remained. Hunting and the shrinking of their marsh habitat had depleted the population, and it wasn't until the late 1960s that coordinated attempts to save the remaining birds started. Today, there are more than 400 birds, largely because of creative breeding methods. Despite the failure of a strategy to move whooping crane eggs to the nests of related sandhill cranes for fostering, captive raising and reintroduction have successfully created 2 wild populations in Florida, one of which has been trained to migrate to Wisconsin. Both are not self-sufficient. The lone self-sustaining population moves between Texas and Alberta in Canada. Number 7. Blue whale, Balaenoptera musculus. The largest animal on the earth, the blue whale, is one of less than 25,000. Blue whales, which have multiple subspecies, are present in all oceans except the Arctic. It is estimated that whaling in the 20th century contributed to a population decline of up to 90%. In the end, commercial hunting of the species was prohibited in 1966. In 1998, the U.S. National Marine Fisheries Service outlined a rehabilitation strategy. To better understand the species, which is still vulnerable to ship crashes and entanglement in fishing nets, it called for the upkeep of photo databases of specific specimens as well as the gathering of genetic and movement data. Number 6. Asian elephant, Elephas maximus. Asian elephants live in 13 countries, and the IUCN's best estimate of their current number is between 40,000 and 50,000. It's possible that the actual number is far smaller because some of the pachyderm's habitats are inhospitable due to the terrain or unstable political conditions. In India, the majority of the people lives. Conflicts over resources and space are brought on by the expanding human population there and throughout Asia. Despite having considerably lower tusks than their African counterparts, Asian elephants are nonetheless poached for their ivory, flesh, and skin. The primary cause of the decline is frequent, widespread, and intensive poaching. In addition to elephant poaching, fragmented habitats and changes in land use for agriculture and other purposes have led to an increase in human-elephant conflict and losses on both sides. Number 5. Sea otter and Hygroleuthris. Sea otters were almost exterminated due to their thick waterproof coats that protect them from the frigid waters they live in. The species, which was sought for by the commercial fur trade, was all but extinct by 1911. It was thought to have been estimated at 300,000. A global ban on industrialized hunting was put into effect that year. Although that ban, along with management and conservation measures implemented after the 1972 Marine Mammal Protection Act, have helped populations recover to perhaps a third of their earlier numbers, they are still extremely vulnerable to both natural phenomena like killer whale predation and to anthropogenic factors like oil spills. Number 4. Snow leopard, Panthera uncia. Although it has the name leopard and undoubtedly resembles a frosted variation of the spotted residents of more equatorial climes, the snow leopard is, at least according to genetic study, more closely linked to the tiger. The number of wild individuals is probably less than 6,500, though numbers are difficult to come by because of the species' preference for inaccessible mountainous areas and its secretive character. China and Mongolia have the biggest numbers, with sizable populations also in India and Kyrgyzstan. Blue sheep and ibex are some of its natural prey, although in some places, it is largely reliant on domesticated animals. The problem leopards are killed by the farmers who depend on the animals. The species is still seriously threatened by poaching and over-harvesting of its native prey. Number 3. Gorilla, Gorilla beringii, and Gorilla gorilla. Gorillas can be divided into two species, the eastern, Gorilla beringii, and western, Gorilla gorilla, or three subspecies, the eastern lowland, western lowland, and mountain gorillas, depending on who you ask. Any expert will tell you that gorillas are all in danger. There are perhaps only 220,000 of them left in the wild. Significant losses have resulted from habitat invasion and poaching for bushmeat, trophies, and magical talismans. Because gorillas have such a complicated social structure and a poor reproductive rate, females give birth only once every 4 years at most. The loss of even a small number of members can have a devastating effect on a troop's capacity to survive. Number 2. Hawksbill turtle, Eretmocles imbricata. The Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Ocean's nearshore tropical and subtropical waters are home to the hawksbill turtle, one of the 7 marine turtle species. Since sea turtles are the actual ocean wanderers, it is challenging to estimate their true population numbers. However, it is estimated that there are between 20,000 and 23,000 nesting turtles. Hawksbill turtle populations have decreased by at least 80% globally during the past 30 years as a result of illegal trade in hawksbill shells and other items, habitat deterioration for nesting turtles, damage to coral reefs, and accidental catch and fishing gear. Future risks brought on by humans, like plastic pollution, climate change, and increasing sea levels, may have a greater impact on the extinction of this species. Hawksbill turtles are currently classified as severely endangered. Number 1. Orangutan, Pongo pygmaeus. The word orangutan means person of the forest in Malaysian. Although they may look more like melted Muppets than actual people morphologically, their highly developed cognitive capacities are in fact very human. They have been observed using tools, just like chimpanzees and gorillas. According to a 2004 research, the population of orangutans, who are only found on the Southeast Asian islands of Borneo and Sumatra, is less than 60,000 due in major part to deforestation and capture for the exotic pet trade. They are typically solitary or live in groups of less than 3, which makes them more challenging to monitor and research than other great apes. Only the Indonesian island of Sumatra is home to the Sumatran orangutan. There are currently less than 14,000 of them in the wild, and the IUCN has classed them as severely endangered. Orangutans in Sumatra are similarly threatened to those in Borneo and Tapanuli. From illegal pet trafficking to agricultural plantations, rising infrastructure development, and logging. Large expanses of connected forest are necessary for orangutans to survive, yet between 1985 and 2007 they lost 60% of their forest habitat. The majority of these orangutans can currently be found in the looser ecosystem, which is located near the northernmost tip of Sumatra and features humid peat swamps and tropical lowland rainforests. The top 10 endangered species are now at the end of our list. It is our responsibility to make sure that these wonderful creatures go on and flourish for many more generations. To safeguard their ecosystems, maintain their populations, and build a brighter future for them, we must cooperate. Together, we can change things for the planet's threatened species. Let's work together to safeguard and preserve these amazing species so that future generations can continue to be inspired by them. Let's fight for them and make sure they're still a part of the diverse variety of our world. We appreciate you taking the time to educate yourself about these endangered animals and for helping to protect them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like and comment below. Turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos.